What if the reason that you feel stuck is because you're still carrying around things that you didn't even realize were there? You see, most people, they think of self-improvement about adding more. So more goals, more habits, more books, more hustle, get up at 5 a.m. Now, these things are great, but they're not helpful if this one thing isn't taken care of first. And this one thing we're going to look at in this video. But the truth is, self-improvement is not about adding, at least not initially anyway. Initially, it's about removing. It's about clearing out what's been quietly running in the background so that you can finally start to move forwards. So I want to share a quick story with you. I'm moving house at the moment. And the other day, I went up into the attics to clear that out. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize quite how much stuff was up there. Now, I'm not talking to the level of a true hoarder.
The attic is full of shit. Look at this. I'm doing 360. Look at this. No room. No room. I'm like a squirrel. This family, we're like the squirrel family. We hide all over the house.
Okay, so we're not talking crazy level here, but I couldn't believe how much was still up in the attic. There was boxes of stuff that I didn't know that we still had. There was old video cameras. There was boxes of memory paraphernalia. There were objects and things that people had left behind when they came to stay. There was quite a lot of surfboards. To be honest with you, at this point, I actually knew that the surfboards were there. I was just trying to hide them from my wife. But there was a lot of stuff up in the attic. And I had a choice. I could either drag all of that stuff with me to the new house, or I could just let go. And I want you to think of the attic a bit like your mind. There are beliefs, there are thoughts, there's emotional clutter up inside your head that you've not looked at in years. And some of it was never even yours to begin with. But letting this stuff go is part of something that I call thought engineering. It's a process that I take clients through that most of us, we're trying to upgrade our lives, but we're hauling around this whole bunch of, these decades of junk inside our heads with us while we're trying to improve. The first part of thought engineering is really simple, but it's also really powerful, and that's awareness. You've got to start noticing the invisible forces that are influencing your behavior, noticing how old programming, the way that you behaved and things that you were told as a kid, how you survived and felt accepted in those early years, how those things are quietly steering your decisions today. You've got to bring awareness around that. Think of it, it's like running the latest version of an app, but on a phone that's filled up with viruses. So there's a part of your brain that's called the reticular activating system, or the RAS for short. Now, part of its function, part of the RAS's function, is to filter what you focus on. So if you believe that the world is against you, the RAS is going to keep showing you reasons to stay guarded, play small, stay safe, and all that kind of thing. But if you start feeding the RAS with new thoughts like, what if I'm capable of more? What if things could be different? The filter changes and your world, it starts to shift. Now, not because the world has changed. This is important. It's not because the world has changed, but it's because your mind has finally started looking in the right direction. You started to program your RAS to look for something different. So here's what I invite you to do. I want you to take a moment after this video to go up into your mental attic and ask yourself, what beliefs are you still carrying that don't belong in the next chapter of your life? What voices are still echoing in your head from years ago? And what fears are you dragging into your future that were born in the past? Because it might be time to throw some of that old stuff out. And here's the really amazing part. Once you start to create awareness, everything starts to change. You begin to notice where you self-sabotage, where you shrink, where you say yes when really you mean no. This first phase, it isn't about becoming somebody new. It's about revealing who you were always meant to be beneath all of that programming. So thought engineering is a process that I guide my clients through to help them reshape how they think, how they feel, and how they show up in the world. It's not a therapy. It's more than mindset work. It's about intentionally rewiring your internal framework so that your outer life finally reflects who you are and what you're truly capable of. So if you're someone who feels like you've been doing the work, but something still feels off, if you're smart, driven, and self-aware, but you just can't seem to break through, if you're constantly busy, but you barely feel fulfilled, you don't need more doing, you need to clear out the attic. So here's a question that I want to leave you with. What thought do you need to let go of today? Because sometimes letting go of just one thought can be the catalyst to shift everything. Now, if this video has resonated with you, here's what I would love. I would love it if you could hit that like button so that the YouTube robots can get this video in front of other people who need to hear this. And if you've really enjoyed it, why not subscribe? I put out short videos like this every single week. And in the words of Jim Rohn, I'm going to leave you with this. If you don't like where you are, you can move, not a tree. But first, you've got to clear the attic.